All right. Well, we talked yesterday about um, the way that the call of God onto Adam and onto families is to be a transformational force in the world, to guard and garden the world. And we've talked about how the home sphere is a garden sphere, and we're talking about now the land sphere as the sphere of work and the sphere of labor and the sphere of resource gathering. And in the Bible, there's a couple of different reasons, or actually a few different reasons, that we go out and gather resources, or that Adam and Eve go out and gather resources. Now, we talked yesterday about how it's a multi-generational gardening project, the transformation of resource gathering. That resource gathering is a transformational project. Um, but one of the reasons that we go out and get resources are also really important because it's really easy to look at somebody that has a lot of money and immediately think they must be greedy, right? That they've got a lot of resources. They must be a greedy person. And there are greedy people in the world. That's not as if greed isn't something that is talked about a lot in the Bible. In fact, it's a major sin to be greedy, selfish, to be an unsharing, hard-hearted person. That isn't a good thing, and it is a real temptation. In fact, in Proverbs, one of the things that is prayed for in Proverbs 30 is he says the proverbialist, the writer of Proverbs of this proverb says, "Give me neither poverty nor riches. Um, Feed me with the right amount. I don't want to get full and deny thee." Right. Now he also says I don't want to be poor and steal and carry the name of God, take the name of God in vain, right? Because that's one of the things that when we steal, we are acting like God is a different God than he actually is. So God has put his name on us. He's promised to take care of us. When we steal, we're acting like we got to take care of ourselves. Or God's name is we are holding or we're wearing God's name in an empty way when we steal because we're not trusting that God will take care of us. But he says I don't want to get too rich and deny God, right? To think that I don't need God anymore because of how successful I've been. That is a real temptation. But there's also a real temptation in our day and age to feel guilt about wanting to earn money, about wanting to be successful, and the successful in an economic sense. But what the Bible teaches is that there's actually good reasons to work hard to make money. There's good reasons to go out and work hard and gather up resources and bring them home. And there are three right out the gate that the Bible talks about. One good reason is to glorify your wife, right? To bring home resources to glorify your wife, to so that she has what she needs to be able to take care of the home, that so that she in um, in one of the prophets, one of the things that God says is, "You Israel, or you Jerusalem, were my wife, and I bought you nice jewelry because I love you." Right? I shiny, jangly things um, as a gift to your wife is a good reason to work hard, right? That is because it's a way of showing that you love your wife. Now, knowing her and knowing what kinds of things that she likes and what kinds of jewelry she appreciates or what kind of gifts she likes, right? Especially if her love language is receiving gifts, is a what Peter talks about when he says you want to know your wife, right? Know your particular wife, because it's not women in general that you're buying uh, things for that you're bringing resources to. You want to know your particular wife and what she likes, and so you work hard to bring her gifts, right? God God made men needing to give gifts, right? That is one of the fundamental needs of a man. He needs to give gifts to be the kind of creature that God made him to be. And so he goes out and he gets resources and he brings them home to love and care for and glorify his wife. Men can't be glory hoarders, right? They are not the kind of creature that can hold glory for themselves uh, and it be okay, right? Glory rots when men hold it for themselves, but when they give it to their wife, they are the kind of creature that are a vessel that can carry glory, right? They are the glory of their husband. It says that Paul says, right? He says, I mean, this is part of the reason that he says it's good for women to have long hair and for men to not have long hair because long hair is glorious, and women are the kinds of creatures that that they are glory vessels, right? That's part of what they're made for, is to be beautiful, to receive glory from men and be able to display it in a way that is a good thing. Now, one of the things that's interesting is this is why Paul says that women shouldn't dress like they're on their way to their wedding for a church, right? He talks about dressing in a economically modest way on when you go to church, right? That because it is not, they are vessels of glory, and they're but that's not the place to display their glory. Now, if they are the bride at a wedding, it is the right time to dress up and wear all the jewelry and wear the crown and all of the different things. um there is an appropriate time for that because they are um God created women to be um given gifts to be glorified, to carry glory, to display glory. Those are good things. But men, when they hold glory for themselves, it rots, right? They aren't vessels to carry glory, and women are. So um, that's one of the reasons, is to go get the resources, go get the gold in the land of Havilah. That's good, to bring it home for your wife, for your home, to build a safe place, a beautiful, safe, glorious place. So that's one reason. The other is because a righteous man, a good man, loves to leave an inheritance to his children and his children's children. The a sinner might lay up an inheritance, but it's not going to last. But a righteous man should want to leave an inheritance to his children and his children's children. So you need the resources to raise them, and you need the resources to leave an inheritance. It's a good thing to go out and get resources in order to lay up an inheritance. And there's more to an inheritance, because righteousness is the greatest inheritance. There's more to an inheritance than just simply silver and gold. But silver and gold is a good inheritance, right? It's actually not a bad thing to leave your children an inheritance. It's a good thing. It's a bad thing to leave them uh, money and gold, silver and gold instead of righteousness. But it is good to leave you to righteously leave an inheritance for your children. So you want to have the resources to provide for your kids now, and to help them once you're gone, or to help them when they're grown and they're raising your grandchildren. You want to be able to help, right? These are all good things, and it's a good reason to try to learn to manage or earn good money, manage your money well, and set it aside and leave it for an inheritance. And then the third reason is, Paul says he wants that we should want to work hard with our hands so that we can be generous, that we can. Uh, Ephesians 4:28. This is a really important verse to think about a lot. Let him who stole steal no more. right? Remember that stealing is one of the ways that we take the name of the Lord in vain or carry the name of the Lord in vain. Stealing is a way of saying, I don't believe God is going to provide for me. And I don't believe that God has put his name on me and that comes with promises to provide. Let him who stole steal no more. And he says, instead, let him labor, working hard with his hands, doing something that's good, so that he may give to him that needs, right? Let him be generous. Let him work hard so that he can be generous. So the opposite of carrying the name of the Lord in vain by stealing is honoring the name of the Lord by working hard to be generous. Um, and he in Acts, Paul also says, "I've showed you all these things, how to labor to support the weak, to remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he said it's more blessed to give than to receive." Right? That the generosity of hardworking people. Um, is a blessing in and of itself, right? Being able to be generous is a blessing. It's more blessed to give than to receive. So, um, you that is a blessing that we honestly often don't recognize. Um, that we because we don't we don't think we don't look for opportunities to be generous, but when you see when you meet people who have consistently been generous, you see that how grateful they are for the opportunity, because the blessing of getting to be generous is so much more significant. In my family has been able to be on either side of those things, right? We've been in a place where we have to receive from the Deacons Fund, and we've been in a place where we've had overflow that we were able to put into the Deacons Fund. We've been in a place where friends have had to fill our gas tank up. We've been in a place where we've gotten to fill the gas tank up of friends who are struggling, right? We've been in all of those situations, and it's absolutely true that it's more blessed to give than to receive. And I'm grateful for those times that people have helped us, because life is hard and there's ups and downs. And sometimes you make enough and sometimes you don't. Sometimes the bills come in and they're higher than you expected. Sometimes the paycheck comes in, it's higher than you expected. Right? All those things are good. And it's such a blessing to get to be generous. That's one of the other reasons that the Bible gives us for working hard, right? So we want to go out and live transformational lives in the world, um, to garden the world, to bring, to take dominion over whatever God has given us, bring it to its intended end, and then we work hard to uh, supply our family, to bless our to bless our wives, to bless our kids, to lay up an inheritance, and then to get to be able to be generous, and receive the blessing of being able to be generous in those moments. So, God tells us that work is good, that we don't work for the weekend, but that the work itself is good, and it's a life-changing thing to be able to work by faith that way. So, um, thanks for joining me on the podcast, and I'll see you tomorrow.